This episode of the School of Life podcast is brought to you by Miss J's Resumes, ran and operated under the Savvy Solution, LLC. Miss J's Resumes provides quality resume and cover letter writing, review, and tips for the perfect resume start to finish. Miss J's Resumes has proven results. From college students to professionals changing careers, there's room for everyone. To schedule your free consultation or learn more about the Miss J's Resumes Resume Bundle, which includes 6 detailed templates and 2 guides to crafting the perfect resume, visit www.thesavvysolutionllc.com. That's www.thesavvysolutionllc.com.
Wow, Sina.
Another day, another dollar. I'm saving just to be broke. They said college was serious, but my degree feel like a joke. 4 years or less, I'm saying I got it done. No playing, just to end up at my mom's after I told her I wasn't staying. Well, here we are. No question, I'm a star. Just got some light years to travel, but it's just so far. But I'ma make it though. Make sure you get your focus right. You coming too? It's about to be one hell of a ride. Yeah, this adults and stuff is crazy. They ain't warn us about this. I'm supposed to live my best life on an unpaid internship. How I'm supposed to find my husband? Everybody running game. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same. Went from worrying about on flow to running from Uncle Sam. Now I understand why student accounts never gave a damn. Saving accounts be slipping, trying to work out, but I'm tripping. I forgot health insurance. Oh, I'm my mom's until I'm 26, so I gotta pay these student loans. That's adulting. With the score doing the most. That's adulting. Moving out of mom's house. That's adulting, but it's all gonna work out. That's adulting. I need a legal side hustle. That's adulting, cause these bills got me in trouble. That's adulting. Journey's course is never planned. That's adulting. Just leave it in God's hands, cause that's adulting.
Hey friends, welcome back to another amazing episode of the School of Life podcast. Have y'all noticed that your girl is out here being super consistent with the episodes? Listen, I told y'all last year that I was getting my life together and I was bringing you more quality content, and we were just getting our whole podcast lives together because y'all know life just hit me like a bus and I had to regroup. But I am super excited to continue to put out episodes for you and to hear your feedback. So while I still haven't been as consistent as I'd like, I am doing a lot better and continuing to plan and batch content and all of that crazy stuff that contributes to my life. So just continue to pray for me while I get it together. So aside from podcasting and running my business, I have been spending a lot more time with my family and really basking in gratefulness lately. So you guys know that the world is literally chaos. There's so much going on. Every day it's like just something negative happening. And so I try to create my own peace any chance that I get. And that includes doing my own nails now. Y'all, I have like a whole full set. I'm a whole nail tech out here. I try to exercise a bit more, but catch me later with that one. I'm reading more. Y'all know I'm a nerd, so I like to read anyway. Going for walks, and of course, eating ice cream if I feel like it. So I am just doing everything that makes me happy and brings me peace during this season, because if you don't, you will go insane. So I want to encourage you to do the same thing if you have not. Find you some peace and hold on to it. So if you guys heard a laugh, it's because I have a guest and I am super excited about today's episode. As always, I feel like I say that every episode, but I really am excited because not only do I have another special guest, but I am covering a very hot topic among millennials. But before I introduce him and we dive into today's lesson, y'all know the routine. Get out your notebook, your journal, or whatever you need to take notes because School of Life is in session. All right, so today we are chatting with my friend, licensed real estate agent, fellow podcaster, entrepreneur, super dad, and everything in between, Mr. Sabri Thompson. Welcome, Sabri.
Thanks for having me.
I feel like you're a regular on the podcast.
I was about to say, put me on payroll.
Okay, I need to. Y'all, Sabri is just magical to the podcast, to my business. I'm always asking him to do things, and he's like, I'm there. So I may have to cut him a check.
Nah, it's all love. We got to support each other. That's the only way to grow, for sure.
Thank you. Yep. I appreciate you. So thank you for joining me and bringing your knowledge and expertise. I know that we both know that home ownership is such a huge goal for so many people for so many reasons. And while I hope that people want to buy a home because it's in their hearts and not because Instagram told them so,
right.
I know that today's lesson will be valuable and that you will be able to just shine some light on some specifics that people may not know about. And so guys, if this content sounds familiar, yes, I did do an Instagram live with Sabri discussing this, but y'all know how I am. I like things perfect, and the audio quality wasn't the best, so we had to come to the studio. But I'm super excited for my friend gang, for you guys to learn the ins and outs of what may really be the biggest purchase that you make in your lives. And so y'all know how I do. If I don't know the details of something, I bring the experts on. So I will be taking notes myself because I aspire to be a homeowner one day. And Sabri will just give us all the information we need. So Sabri, welcome again. Let's start out with finding a good real estate agent. So we both know that, well, first, do you want to introduce yourself more, or did I do a decent
I think
job?
you did a great job. Yeah. But for, my name is Sabri Thompson, a licensed real estate agent in the state of Delaware and newly in Pennsylvania as well.
Oh, congrats.
Appreciate it. Yeah, COVID slowed it down a little bit, but, we're going to keep on pushing. But yeah, you can find me on social media, Instagram at realestateBreeze_, Sabri Thompson on Facebook.
Awesome. Y'all, I have to do better at introducing my guests. So we, mostly everyone knows you have to have a good real estate agent when you talk about buying a home. Talk to us about the qualities of a good agent.
So the qualities of a good agent, it definitely will depend. And I'm going to put this disclaimer out there. I'm going to say it depends a lot.
Okay.
Because in real estate transactions, it definitely does depend sometimes. But when it comes to qualities of a good agent, most of the times you'll find the same, top answers. My top 3, I'm going to go with communication. You definitely need somebody that's going to communicate because this is a transaction with a lot of moving parts, And if you're not, what I like to do is buyer consultations in the beginning. I don't like people hit me up and like, hey, I want to go see this house. I'm like, okay, we need to sit down first,
right.
Because I need to see where you are, how you're qualified, and I want you to understand what you're getting yourself into before we just jump out there.
Right.
I know Zillow sends out all those different.
I got some Zillow.
Yeah. So that would be my number 1. Number 2, I would say someone who has knowledge of the market and of the transaction.
Okay.
So in my buyer consultation, I like to go through from start to finish, how it's going to go, the things you can expect, things that went wrong in my previous transactions that I can try to prepare you for because, things do blow up. Deals sometimes do fall through. And then lastly, I would say someone you can trust. You're not going to just, it's one of the biggest purchases in most people's lives, sometimes the biggest, so you don't want to just have anyone handling that, so you want to have someone you can trust, someone that that will get you from start to finish.
Okay, I like that. That sounds like any relationship. Those are important things.
It's definitely a relationship business. That's my favorite part of it. The relationships I build. Like I have clients that I still talk to all the time.
Awesome.
And I keep contact. That's part of my business model to keep in contact, reach back. But yeah, it's a relationship. My thing is I'm all in about the business of helping people. As I do fitness training and all that type of stuff. I just want to see people reach their goals.
Yeah.
And this is a big goal that, the satisfaction I get from seeing people get their home and they're crying at closing. It's it's priceless,
Yeah,
so.
It is. That is super dope. I know I have a few family members who are real estate agents, and they are like you, all about the relationship. So guys, if you are looking to buy a home, make sure that you choose an agent that you feel connected to. I would say, I want to feel connected to my agent. I want to know, I can call them with questions and they not feel annoyed and they're not just trying to get my money. So yeah, those are really, really good points. So I know you mentioned that there are a lot of moving parts with the home buying process. And this may be something that a lot of people don't know. They just may think that you get a realtor and then you sign some papers and you get a house. Talk to us about who all plays a part in actually buying a home. And we can call this your money team.
Money team. I like that. Yes, there are a lot of different people in the transaction, and that's where your real estate agent comes in as like the broker. I work for a broker, and where you're bringing people together. So I would say the first person and one of the most important people is your loan officer.
Okay.
Because you want to know what you're approved for. You want to know what you can afford. You don't want to be out there window shopping, basically.
Yes.
You're looking at these houses, and then when you find out what you're really qualified for, you're disappointed. Especially in Delaware, the inventory is not the best.
Gotcha.
So your loan officer, I'll always say crack down on your financing first. Understand that, and have a good relationship with that person as well. That person is, pulling your credit. They're looking at your financial statements, your income documents, so you need to trust that person as well.
Okay. So they decide how much you can borrow from the bank.
Yeah, they look at like your loan to value. They look at your debt to income ratio.
Gotcha.
Your debt to income ratio. They want to see your credit history. They want to see do you have a history of paying things off? Because your mortgage,
right,
that's a lien. You don't pay that. They taking that house as collateral.
Yeah.
So attorneys in Delaware, buyers have to be represented by attorneys.
Okay.
They're going to do all the things in the background, like title search, deed preparation, surveying the property to making sure, if there's a deck back there, is that deck permitted?
Right.
Because if it's not, that's important to understand for resale purposes, because when you go to resell it, you need to disclose that in like the seller's disclosure, like, hey, I don't have a permit on this property. It wasn't permitted when I got it. I can get into details, but that was just a little small example. Another important person is your home inspector.
Okay. I hear dreadful stories about the home inspector.
This is the part of the transaction where I always just like cross my fingers, pray to God that, it's nothing major, because when it's not new construction, even with new construction, I always tell my clients, no house is perfect.
Oh, wow.
Even built from the ground up.
I'm sold on a new construction home. Like, I want it built from the ground up.
Yeah, me too.
And it still won't be perfect.
And it won't, because like I learned this from one of my clients whose father was a general contractor. We were in a new construction house under contract and everything, right? He's really funny. He'd be like, come here. Look at that wall right there. Look at that wall. You see how crooked it is? That's why the window's cracked. Like, and I was like, wow. Like, so I learn a lot from my clients as well. There are clients that know way more about houses than me. Seriously. They're like interior designers and stuff like that. So, but getting back to the inspectors,
yes.
When you're doing a resale, you have 15 days prior to getting under contract to get your inspection done and get your request list over to the seller. And with that comes, when the house has been around for already 20 years, you can't expect it to be perfect. There may be some foundation issues.
Yeah.
Hope that's never the issue.
Yeah.
Maybe some previous leak that left water stains. There's things that you want to check out before you move into that house. So it's the one of the most important parts of it, but sometimes it's the part that breaks up the deal, because if you can't come to terms like, okay, I need you to fix this roof. And the seller like, well, nah, it's functional. It ain't,
right,
but it's on its last, right. And that's another thing. If it's functional, you can't always expect them to fix it. You can ask for it.
Wow.
Like cosmetic things. If there's an old table, but you want granite countertops.
Yeah, that's me.
I mean, you can ask them, but it's like a negotiation. If something else is messed up, or if they already had that in the deal, it does happen, but you can't expect them to just, because that's more money out of their pocket, so. Inspection periods, cross your fingers, but it's definitely necessary. You want to know what you're moving into. You don't want to move into a lemon. You know?
How long do the inspection periods normally last? Is there a time frame?
Yeah, so the buyer has 15 days
15
in Delaware.
okay.
And in other states may vary. In Delaware, you have 15 days to get your inspection list over to the seller.
Okay.
Seller has 3 days to respond or counter that inspection list, and then you have 2 days to either accept it or not after that 3-day period.
Gotcha.
So. I like to get it done. Like as soon as I get under contract, we're doing an inspection the next week, because I always want more time to mitigate issues and come to terms, So
I like that.
And then lastly, there are other people, but we'll get into that later. Appraisers, I'll mention appraisers. Now an appraiser is very important as well.
Okay.
Your loan officer is going to order that appraisal for you, right?
Okay.
And the appraiser is going to determine the value of that property.
Okay.
So for example, let's use some easy numbers. $200,000 house. You got it under contract for $200,000. Say that appraiser comes in and says, well, this house is only worth $195,000, and you're using a specific loan program where, the bank is, you have to go down to that price. They're only going to give you either the lesser amount of the list price or the appraisal price. So if the appraisal is less, you have to do an addendum most times to bring it down.
Okay.
If not, then you have to pay the difference to the bank. Yeah.
You know what? Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And most times the seller will bring it down if it's not. But sometimes they're like, depending on what the inspection is, you know, they already put out a lot of money and they still want to net a certain amount.
Yeah.
Well, we still want to keep it here as your buyer willing to pay the extra in closing costs.
Wow.
Sometimes buyers will if it's a really nice house.
Okay,
you know,
so they'll just tack that extra $5K on to the closing costs.
Yep.
Okay. Well, y'all make sure you got your notebook out. If you do not have your notebook, pause us right now. I know we jumped right into it, but get your notebook out. Take some notes because this is great information, especially for people who I know one in my family has bought a house, so I don't even know the process. So I am learning as we go, which is so dope. So thank you. Anyone else on our money team that we need to know?
There are other people, but I'm pretty sure we'll touch on that a little later. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, make sure y'all got your notebooks. So I know that one of the most important things to buying the house is the loan you get. And I do know that there are a few types of different loans out there, and there are different programs for people like the first-time home buyers. I hear a lot about. Talk to us a little bit about the different types of loans, because I think some people don't really know, okay, where am I getting this $200K from?
Right. So different types of loans. There are many out there depending on where you are. There's different, you know, agricultural loans. There are 203K loans where, you know, construction loans where basically you can, if there's a house that needs work, you can basically negotiate the price of that getting fixed into your loan amount.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not going to get all into the weeds with all that. We're just going to go with a couple common ones.
Okay,
Conventional and FHA.
Okay, yeah. I hear those all the time.
Now, conventional loan, that's like, you know, you have like your private loaners and stuff like that. A lot of people have a misconception that you have to put 20% down with a conventional loan. Okay. That's not always the case. Okay. Most people don't have 20% to just put down.
Right. If anyone does, cash out me $1 or $2.
Right. Me too. Because like if you think about it, you know, 20% down, that's a lot of $200,000. And then you also have closing costs, you know, which is people don't even know about the closing costs. And that's a big expense as well. But conventional, there are options where you can put like 5% down, you know, and then sometimes even get assistance.
Oh, wow.
So that's an important one. I do like conventional loans in the long run because if you do put anything less than 20% down on the house, you have to get what's called PMI, premium mortgage insurance.
Yes, I've heard of that.
And that adds onto your monthly payment. Okay. You know, that's a part of your monthly payment.
Gotcha.
But the thing about conventional loans are once you get to that 20%, it automatically drops off.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So that's not the case with an FHA
With the FHA.
Loan. Okay.
It doesn't it doesn't drop off unless you refinance it.
Okay,
you know?
gotcha. That's another thing.
and I'm not a loan officer, so if I misspoke on that and it's different in your state, you know, from my experience, I know
Correct us if it's different.
For sure. You know, we always in the business of learning more every day, you know. But FHA is a government-backed loan. Gotcha. You know, it's secured, you know, through the government.
So conventional loans aren't.
They're secure, but they're through private lenders.
Gotcha.
You know, so like banks and stuff like that. You know, but FHA is a federal program, so that's the government money. Yeah. You know, so they are more strict on their restrictions and things like that. And I heard you mention first-time homebuyer programs. Delaware has a program called Delaware State Housing Authority, First Front Door Program, and you know. That's very good because you're up to 3.5%. You can put that much down, but you can get that paid for you.
Oh, wow.
As long as you take like a home buyer class or something like that and have at least a 620 credit score. That's another thing. Credit score is important when you're getting approved, making sure you have. So for FHA, you have to have at least a 620, but for conventional, I say just try to come with the best you can because the higher the higher your credit score, the better interest rate you may qualify for. You know.
Now, some people may think that if their credit is super low, they just won't qualify at all. Is that true?
Honestly, I believe the FHA you can get approved down to like a 580.
Are you serious?
But you can't get the assistance.
Oh,
you can't you have to get the assistance. You have to have at least a 620. And during COVID, they had increased it to I believe like 680.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because if you think about it, it makes sense though because these lenders, they don't want to just give a loan to someone who may lose their job.
That's true.
You know, so not saying that that's always correlated to people that have a bad job. Not saying that, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, we can talk about that off the air.
Exactly. So yeah, I know it did go up for a little bit. So some clients were affected on that, and they had to wait. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, FHA. It's not it's definitely great for people that don't have a lot of upfront costs. You know, so a lot of my clients do use FHA, the First Front Door program. you have that bond on there. So like even though it's free money up front, I'm not even gonna say it's free. It's not. It's tacked onto the back end of your loan.
Gotcha.
So you're still paying it off over time, and you're paying PMI for the life of the loan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a lot.
That's a lot. A 30-year loan. You paying PMI all that time. The interest is like it's gonna be a long time to pay that off.
Yeah.
So I always tell people once you get on your feet and you start building some equity in the house, refinance.
Yeah.
Refinance to a conventional loan.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So would you recommend a conventional loan over an FHA loan?
If you're able to do a conventional, I would say yes.
Gotcha. And you can do, you said the lowest is 5% with the conventional?
I believe 5%.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
5% you can put down instead of the 20.
Yeah, because I don't have 20%.
Right. And it may be even lower than that. Actually, I may be misspeaking. I believe conventional, you may even be able to put a little bit lower than that, depending on how you qualify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
that is super dope. Okay. Y'all, make sure, I'm not going to remind you again, take your notes. This is super, super great. So I know we talk a lot about money and loans and finances and where are we getting this money and all of that. It's so funny. I think I read a post on Twitter a few weeks ago where someone was buying a home and she said that whoever it was asking, well, why not just call your parents for money? And she was like, sir, don't play with me.
Everybody's parents got it like that.
Right. So talk to us a little bit about where are we getting this money from? Like we said, we don't have 20%. At least I don't have 20% yet of a home balance sitting in my bank account. I don't have wealthy parents. I just was not born with a silver spoon. Where can people, just pull their money from?
So speaking of, having like family members help you out, there is something called a gift letter.
Okay.
So now with gift letters, it can't be anyone who would create a conflict of interest in the transaction. Okay. So me as your real estate agent, I can't give you a gift letter. Your attorney can't give you a gift letter. Your inspector, your loan officer can't give you a gift letter. Now, if you do have a parent that is willing to give you a few extra $1,000s to help you with your closing costs or, whatever it may be, then yes, that's definitely possible.
Okay.
But it has to
be any amount.
It can be any amount.
My grandma can give me $500.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
But it has to be written down as in a gift letter format because your loan officer has to take into account that when they're, when they're doing all their things on the back end,
Gotcha.
and they're looking at your income statements and everything like that. Okay. So that's definitely because the thing about that is if let's say $5,000 just showed up in your account, and they're like, well, where did this come from? That kind of raises a red flag because they want to validate where that income is coming from.
So they can see your bank account.
Yeah, because you have to send them sometimes a running balance, and then right before closing, especially with COVID right now, they're pulling people's like statements before closing and running your credit again to make sure.
Serious?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Even before COVID, I believe they do that sometimes because think about it, it does make sense, right?
Yeah, it's just I just never thought that it was that like in depth.
Yeah, because if you say when you qualify, you had a nice credit, history and everything like that, but you just went and bought all your furniture on credit, and they look at that and they're like, what happened to the money you had saved?
Right.
Because they want to look that you have like a little cushion.
Okay.
I
gotcha. Wow. So gift letters are a thing. If you out there and you have parents who can give you a little coin, see if they can give me one too. But it's really good to know that because I know when you talk about buying a home, it's like, oh my gosh, $200,000. I need help, so it's good to know that people, can gift me money. Talk to us a little bit about not the down payment, the closing costs and the money we may we will have to bring to the table when it's time.
So closing costs, they normally say around 6 to 7% of the home price, but that it definitely varies depending on how much you're putting down. But it's your closing costs are taking care of the things on the back end, like those attorney's fees, the deed preparation, appraisal costs and things like that. And then you also, but also I forgot to mention where money could come from, earnest money. Seller's help. Okay. So seller's concession. That's basically, say it's $200,000, right? And say your closing costs were $15,000. Oh. And that's kind of close, So. So the thing about that is, say you be like, okay, as a realtor, you're like, Sabri, I only have $5,000. Okay, well, let me ask the seller and say you only have $5,000, got $5,000 from your family. Now it's still $5,000 that we need. Boom. All right, I'll negotiate that in the deal. Where it's basically like, okay, we're coming in with the full price offer of $200,000, but we need $5,000 in settlement help.
Gotcha.
So that's basically the seller. If they agree to that, they're basically agreeing to basically take $5,000 off of their net proceeds to help you close.
Wow.
And that's very common in our market.
Okay.
People ask for settlement assistance all the time.
Okay.
But of course, the more you ask for it, the higher risk of you not getting your offer accepted by someone who maybe not asked for as much or not any.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, closing costs. Also, earnest money deposits are a big thing.
Okay.
So that's like a good faith check.
Okay.
The good faith check is what you put down with your offer. Mm-hmm. So basically, sometimes they say like the rule of thumb is 1% of the list price. Mm-hmm. So let's just say 200,000 is 2,000, right? So you put in 200,000 down. It's not just like their money just to have. Mm-hmm. That money's going to come back to you at closing. Okay. But it sits in an escrow account with the listing agent. The listing agent is the agent who's selling the house on the other side, who's representing the seller. And basically, I always like to tell people that there are only 3 ways to disperse of this check. Mm-hmm. The first way and the best way is at closing. Of course, it comes back to you and it's already calculated by the attorneys and everything like that. The second way is through mutual agreement. Sometimes deals, unfortunately, don't go through. You know, and then, but say it was the buyer's fault that they just was like, I got cold feet, I don't want this anymore. Yeah. Seller has to move in 2 weeks. Yeah. Boom. So they upset. Well, we're keeping your earnest money deposit.
Wow.
No, I don't. No, I want my money back.
So does it have to be written in any type of legal language that where the earnest money will go in the event that they don't go to closing?
No, not until that situation arises.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. So
you
could get into like a whole scuffle.
Oh, yeah. People go to court and everything over earnest money deposit. It's not really worth it because you're going to end up spending more in attorney's fees than over $2,000. Right. You know, but sometimes I've never dealt with it, thankfully, but I've heard horror stories, about it, especially with like houses that are like at a higher list point, which have a big earnest money deposit and they're trying to win that offer, Wow. Seller may be like, well, I want to keep half. And the buyer like, no, I want the whole thing back, So these are just different scenarios. And I like to prepare my buyers for anything that can happen because it's just life and things happen, So I want them to be prepared and making sure they're not like, well, you didn't tell me that I'm not going to get my money back. Like, well, I told you it's only 3 ways to do it, mutual agreement, written, but I just cross my fingers that never happens in my time doing real estate.
Another quick question about earnest money. That money is a part of your down payment total. I'm not down. I keep saying down
cost.
payment. Yes, closing costs total. Okay, good. That's good to know.
Yeah, so that's already going to be the attorneys when they look at it, and the loan officer is in the contract because you have to once the offer is accepted, you send a contract to all the different parties so they can start doing their thing. And they're already accounting for it. Okay,
perfect. Okay, so we're getting our coins together just a little bit. Would you say, would you advise, people to start saving money now? Let's say I want to buy a house in 5 years. Would it be helpful to save a little bit now?
If you're trying to buy a house within 5 years, like you're planning ahead, and you save like an extra couple $100 a month, like. You're going to be fine. Okay. You're going to be fine.
Good.
Yeah.
So, I know you mentioned that they look in your bank statements through your account. How many years do they go back? Do they go back years? Do they only look at the past couple of months? What does that look like for people out there who may be scamming?
Right. So for bank statements, I believe they maybe look like 1 or 2 months just to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
but for tax returns and stuff like that, they'll look for a few years back.
Okay. Y'all make sure your taxes are in order. Okay. Make sure
they want to make sure you have a job. They want to make sure you have a sustainable job, not just like you just got hired this month. They want to see like, okay, they had a job this year. Gotcha. Okay, maybe they had some pay increases. That's good. That looks good, seeing that history and stuff like that.
But it doesn't have to be the same job.
It doesn't have to be the same job, but definitely be mindful of gaps in employment. They will question that. Not saying I've had people who dealt with that, but they will question it, like, why were you laid off in this time? Because they want to see, all right, is this a trend?
Okay, gotcha.
Things like that.
Okay, super good to know. So we have our agent now. We know our money team. We know a little bit about the type of loans that we can get. We get a loan, we get some earnest money going, all of that. Now it's time to look for the house. And guys, go back and just rewind that part, because don't start looking for the house until you get those things in order. Like Sabri said earlier, don't window shop. I know y'all be on Zillow looking at those $1 million homes that you can't afford yet, but make sure you take the proper steps before you get out there and you're looking at a house and then your agent tells you, well, you only qualify for $150K, but you've been looking at homes for $300K. So just follow the steps that are laid out for you.
Yeah.
So we did all those things, and now it's time to look. Talk to us about the different types of home markets, and just what to look for when we're house shopping.
So it's definitely important to understand the market that you're entering.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
Delaware is a heavy seller's market, and it has been for the last 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
And what I mean by seller's market is the inventory is not the best.
Okay.
So you'll see something on Zillow for like maybe one day, and then maybe within that same day, within a few hours, it's already under contract.
Wow.
It's that hot right now. And then especially right now with the interest rates being historically low, it's booming right now. It's crazy. So that's why I like for my buyers to understand their financing before we go out there, because we see a house that you want, you need to move on it because it may not be there tomorrow. And that's no exaggeration. It may not be there within a few hours. I've been on the way to appointments and showings and gotten calls, or I got through my app, I got a notification saying listing status changed under contract.
And you're on your way there.
On their way. I maybe it was like a month ago. Was going out with, and these clients are under contract now. But that day we were scheduled to see about 6 houses.
Wow.
3 of the houses, like on the way there, were under contract by the time we got to the house. So we drove all the way there, and I'm like, man, I don't want to show y'all this house because it's under contract. They still want to see it just to see comparing, to the next property. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's a good thing and it's real competitive. I love it that people are able to get houses at this time, especially in a global pandemic. It's great that people are closing. But for my clients, sometimes it's not the best news. They're like, and then sometimes it kind of falls back on me a little bit. They're like, well, why didn't you tell me about this sooner? I'm like, it just came up today.
Right this second. So when you say make a move on it, that means get your earnest money, like go to the bank today so we can put
an offer in.
Okay, put an offer in.
Because your earnest money deposit is I have to hand deliver that to the listing agent within 3 days after the acceptance of the offer.
Okay, gotcha.
So I can write down, if I know that, like, if I want to only put $1,000 down, boom, we can write that in the contract.
Gotcha.
And then in 3 days, we can deliver it.
Okay.
But I need you to know what you can do. Like, so what I like to do is, and I'm giving this to some of the real estate agents out there.
Right.
What I like to do is, if there's a few properties of interest for those clients, I'll hit up the loan officer. If they're using my guy, I have a great relationship. I can call them anytime. But sometimes people come to me with their own people, which is fine. There are a million loan officers out there.
Right.
I like to call them saying, hey, can you please run the numbers on these properties we're going to see today? You know how the market is. I want to have the numbers straight. So if they run it, we can pull the plug on it. I can write this offer up. It takes me like 15 minutes to write an offer.
Okay.
But I need the numbers first. I can't just write. I need to know what to put down. So yeah, that's a good thing. Just staying ahead of the curveball and understanding what you're getting yourself into. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm sorry, I went down a rabbit hole with that. We're talking about buyers markets, and I do know there's a such thing as sellers markets as well. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So we're in the sellers market.
I mean, you talked to us about sellers markets.
So
talk to us about
buyers market.
Yes.
Buyers market is where, and this is, I'm hesitant to say buyers market because the seller at the end of the day determines it. It's technically always a seller's market, but a buyer's market would be when there are when it's reversed, there's more inventory than buyers.
Gotcha.
So there is, for buyers, that's a good thing. there's more to choose from. But in the seller's market, of course, they're fighting for the good houses.
Yeah, of course.
So
I don't want to fight anyone for my house. Jesus.
Well, depending on where you want to go, it's going good houses. Like, I remember a listing I had. It went under contract the first day I put it on. I put a coming soon out. So what you can do is put a coming soon listing, and that way agents can see and they can reach out to the client and say, hey, this house is. I put it coming soon on Thursday and say, hey, it's about to hit the market on Monday.
Wow.
Boom, right? So once it hits Monday, I got 15 showings already set up. Boom, you get I think the property I had maybe had 7 offers.
Are you serious on that Monday?
In the morning.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So is an offer? You get the money, or it's a written offer?
Written offer.
Okay, gotcha.
Written offer from the buyers.
Okay.
They're basically saying, I'm paying this amount. I need this amount of settlement help. Boom, boom, like that.
Okay.
And then you also know what type of loan that they're doing on the offer.
Okay.
And that's important too, because sometimes sellers, and it depends on the seller.
Okay.
If you were a seller, right, and sometimes FHA deals fall through depending on, and it's something safety issue, and your deck got a couple missing boards, right? All right, say an FHA person comes in, full price offer, no settlement help, versus a cash buyer who doesn't have to go through a bank to get approved.
Cash.
Exactly. Yeah. It's less, it's less headache and less risk of that not going through.
Gotcha.
So some people do come and pay cash for these big amount of houses. Oh yeah, I seen on the market, someone paid cash for a house that was over $600,000.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus, I see what you've done for others.
Exactly. Right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you hit on a little bit how you've been able to close homes in the middle of the global pandemic, which is so crazy that we're still in it. I know the interest rates are super low right now, and some people are like, "Is it time? Should I jump on it? Should I not? Like, is it a good time of year?" Can you talk to us a little bit about what a low interest rate really means, if people should move on buying a home, if they can? Like, what advice could you give for someone who might have been thinking, okay, maybe I'll buy a home in 2021? Like, should they jump on that now?
I would say if you could, yes, because this is an election year, and depending on who wins, you never know what the interest rates are going to be like next year, or even as it gets closer, like tomorrow. You never know what can happen. The economy goes like this. But right now, while rates are historically low, if you can lock in a rate that's like 3 something,
that is crazy.
Because you got to think about it. Your mortgage consists of PITI, I call it PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance.
Okay.
So, your interest rate, that's a big part of, that's your monthly payment. That can range, depending on the price of the house, that can range a few $100 difference. A three something interest rate versus a 5 something interest rate. That can, like, your monthly payment, and that can help you out tremendously. So a lot of people right now are getting houses that they normally couldn't afford with a higher interest rate. So if you can get into a house right now, if you can get some people to help you with some money, things like that. You have a good job, good credit and everything like that. I would say at least try to look into it to see if you can do it. Not saying just jump into it. It's a big investment, but if you can, try to take advantage.
Okay, y'all heard it here first.
Plandemic versus pandemic.
I like that. Plandemic. Ooh, I'm going to use that in the caption. So guys, we have gotten a lot of really, really good information. Just for a recap, we talked about the qualities of a good agent. And one thing that I love is that should look like any relationship you would want to have in your life. Someone who communicates with you, someone you can trust, knowing who your money team is, truly know who plays a factor in this purchase. I didn't know that there were so many moving parts to buying a home. So really sitting down with your agent, like, okay, who am I going to be working with? Who's on my money team? Knowing what types of loans there are and knowing what you can qualify for based on your credit score, based on how much money you can put down, just really doing your research. So you also are going to your agent showing, hey, I've done my homework as well. You're not only relying on them to tell you the information. And then, of course, getting your finances together. So start now, get your credit scores up. I know a lot of you have questions about, like, okay, how do I get my credit scores up? Go back and listen to episode number 3, because I hit on that. So just pause me right here and go do that. But get your credit scores up. Start going to see your grandma more so she can write you a gift letter. Right. All of that. Know about earnest money and what you need for closing. Just have that in the forefront of your mind, not even the back of your mind, but the forefront when you think about buying a home. And then, of course, knowing the types of markets that there are. Right now, we're in Delaware, but you may live in Atlanta, or you may live in Alabama, or you may live in California. Wherever you live, just know what type of market you are in, because that will help you just better understand what's out there, what's available, and why something may not be available. And then lastly, in the midst of all of this craziness, if you can, our professional has told us, Plandemic, like, hop on it, see what's out there, weigh your options, and go from there, because now could be the perfect time to get into a home with a super, super low interest rate. Thank you so much again, Sabri. Is there anything else you want to impart on the people? Anything we didn't cover that they need to know about buying a home?
I would say, definitely, first off, I want to appreciate you for having me on the show.
Always.
Definitely appreciate it. I'm a big supporter of your podcast. You're giving out some great gems. School of Life Pod,
yes.
Tune in, so great topic, and you're providing great value for for your listeners. So I appreciate that. I'm sure they do as well. What I would say for people is just, run your own race. We're living in a social media driven society where you see people buying houses and people, Instagram is a big highlight reel. You see people living in quotation marks, and people are progressing through life, and you may look on there and just feel like, dang, I don't have a house yet. I'm 25 and 26, and I'm still at home with mom, parents, things like that. But it's your time.
Right.
And real estate is a long-term game, because once you get that property, you're in the game. You have ownership.
Yeah.
And that's once you have that, you can do many things. You can live in it for a few years, rent it out. You can sell it and use the proceeds after you got some equity to you know, get a new house with your family. You know, there are endless opportunities. Take out home HELOCs, home equity lines of credit, where you can do some home improvements. You know, all different types of things. You know, but once you get that house,
it's
you open yourself up for more opportunities.
Gotcha.
But if you don't have it yet, that doesn't mean it's never going to come. So, you know, take your time, you know, work on your credit if that's an issue, save that money when you can. And if you need any suggestions, I have like different saving plans where I'm able to save like extra $10,000 a year. Like, and I have like a spreadsheet and not just 10,000, like even for people that just want to save an extra 2,000. I have those different resources I give to my clients and stuff like that. So I'm Real Estate Breeze on Instagram, Real Estate Breeze _ You can reach out to me anytime. And I would love to help you and answer any of your real estate questions.
Perfect. And as always, I'll be sure to tag your information in the show notes so you guys can literally just, if you're listening on your iPhone, scroll up right now, click on show notes, and it will be a link to his Instagram page. Check him out, hit him up with all the questions because he is the expert, not me. So before we get out of here, you know I give people homework because this is the School of Life, and we just have to get our lives together. And the only way we can get better is by practicing and just doing what we have to do. So if there was one thing you could assign for people to do for homework, what would it be?
I would say if real estate is a goal for you, owning a home in the near future, go home and write down a 5-year plan.
I like that.
And if you reach for that 5-year plan in 2 years, you know, if you aim for the moon, you know, you're gonna land amongst the stars. You know, so go home, write a plan out, and really, you know, put things to action. Like what you need to do. Okay, I need to get my credit repaired. You know, because it's something about writing things down.
Yes, it
that gives you a certain satisfaction.
It does, yeah, like, I write everything down.
Yep. Yeah. Like every day I do that. I plan my day out by the hour, and then, you know, once I complete a certain task, I put a check next to it. It's something that resonates in my brain. Like, okay, dang, you got that done today. You did that. You know, small victories lead to, you know, great outcomes.
That's how I end up eating ice cream every night, because I'm like, I did that.
You deserved it. You worked for it.
Exactly.
So yeah, that would be my homework.
Okay, I love that. And again, that would be in the show notes. It is truly something about writing. I don't know what it is. I'm a writer just by nature anyway, but just like you, when I write something down, when I write a goal down, and just being able to go back and check it off, it's like, wow, I did that. And I think there's a stat out there that people who write things down are more successful. So
I believe it.
Yeah, I definitely believe it. If you guys want to be successful in your homeownership journey, or even just any journey that you're on or that you aspire to be on, write it down. Write your 5-year plan, write a 10-year plan, and stick to it. Expect, of course, detours. And put some faith in God, but write it down and make it happen. So I think that is super, super great homework for the people.
And to add to that, you mentioned it about people who write things down being successful. And sorry, I'm talking a lot.
No, you're fine.
There's something about it when you write things down, like it connects something in our brain that it connects to you. And another thing you could do to add on to that is I like to do daily affirmations. I look myself in the mirror and not only tell myself, okay, you're powerful, you're going to kill today. You know, I touch myself because when you touch yourself and say it, every cell in your body has to accept it.
I like
so you're really walking in your manifest when you touch yourself and you're demanding your body to accept it and walk in that. So
I want to try that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just get like certain chills in my body when I just talking about it. It's just like wow, like
that
I know.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that it works for me. It may work for someone else.
I would definitely try it. And if you guys out there try it, let me know. I know even just speaking affirmations, when I first started doing it a few years ago, at first it felt weird because I'm like, no one ever told me these things. And so for me to have to tell myself, it's almost like crazy. But the more I've done it, and now it's just an everyday part of just part of my life now, I truly feel like, okay, you will be successful today. I feel that and I embody it. So I am all for affirmations. Now I'm going to add my touch.
There we go.
And just get it going.
There we go.
I love it. You are so amazing. So thank you again. I know the friend gang is super happy to hear from you because one of the hot topics people wanted to hear about, even last year when I did a poll, was home ownership. And so y'all, I hope you took what Sabri said. Go follow him on Instagram. Blow his DMs up, asking him questions, and just get your 5-year plan together so that you can be a homeowner when it is your time. So that wraps up another great episode of this podcast. First of all, I'm just super appreciative. I am overjoyed as always. Thank you for joining me again.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you to my friend gang for rocking with me. I am truly still in awe that I'm doing something like this and that we are 1 year in. That is truly bananas. But I'm excited to continue going. I hope to be 50 years in from now. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to be 60-something still podcasting. Whatever the case, that math on the add up. Whatever the case, I'm excited to be 1 year in. I appreciate you guys. For my international listeners, you are the best. I see you in my stats. I love you. You guys have just truly made this a home for yourselves and for me and for all of my guests. As always, I hope you learned something new or you gained new insight because you guys know that is why this podcast exists. Y'all know I don't proclaim to be an expert on anything except faith, but if I can find people to join us and impart knowledge, that is what I'll do. So in the meantime, keep kicking life's butt as we learn and grow together. Keep praying and keep evolving. Talk to y'all soon.
That's adults with the score doing the most. That's adulting, moving out of mom's house. That's adulting, but it's all gonna work out. That's adulting. I need a legal side hustle.